Waiting until the little circus says live. Well, in theory we are. That's beautiful. So good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone, wherever you are in the world. I'm so really, truly happy, excited, and so thankful because today finally we launched the book, Woman Rising the Power of Becoming, and I am truly humble to walk this path along so amazing, beautiful women. We decided to have this live book launch with all of you so we can share, about the chapters. If you are joining live or in the replay, please feel free to ask any questions you may have, and let's just have fun. It's really exciting. I mean, it's really, really been a journey for myself, and I think for all the ladies who joined. They are contributing authors in the book. It was a journey. It took a lot of courage, and I would love to take the opportunity to say thank you. I see you all. I love you all, and I appreciate all of you for sharing your stories, sharing the road throughs, and I'm really, truly grateful. So I would love to welcome with me today at this very moment, I'm going to say as you are on my screen, Kirsten Smith, Dr. Shamila Ramjavan, Dr. Maria Ian, Anna Konya, and Roshani Shinas from India. Welcome, ladies. Thanks so much for joining me today. Well, first, I would love to ask you, let's kick off with a question, okay? And as you answered the first question, I also would love to invite you in a couple of words, to introduce yourself for those who are just tuning in or they are first time watching my channel as well. What truth about yourself took the longest to accept? So introduce yourself and let's kick off with this question. And this is for all of us. What truth about yourself took the longest to accept? And then I'm going to tell you mine. Let's start with Kirsten.
Hello, everybody. I'm Kristen. I'm very proud to be a contributing author to this book. It's really exciting, and today is a super exciting day for us. Um, and I think to answer your question, I think the truth about myself was that. So my story is one of from heartbreak to heart open, going through the separation and divorce that I never saw coming and just completely derailed me, and literally felt like my life fell apart. I live away from family, not a huge community, and literally had to pick up the pieces by myself with children and work, job, life, routine, everything as normal, and felt very alone. And I think that that one was of resilience actually and strength that I think I never knew existed to this level. And I think when you start coping, you don't even realize how that you're actually doing it well, and that you have far more strength and resilience that you ever imagined. And sometimes you only recognize it further down in your journey when you start reflecting and start realizing, hang on, I'm actually okay, and I'm actually doing this myself. And it's an awakening in itself, because you in your head you keep thinking, I can't do this. I'm all alone, and what's going on and what's the future, and then you realize actually I am doing this. I'm not alone, and I don't need to worry about the future. Actually, I'm strong. I've got myself, and I'm resilient. I think that was an important truth for me, because then you start to rely on yourself and not looking elsewhere for that support, and that's when you start looking within, and that's when the whole inner journey starts as well.
Oh wow, thank you so much, Kristen, for sharing that. I agree with you. When we stop looking validation from the outside, right? When we think, okay, I can do it. I am strong enough because that comes from within, that everything changes, right? So, what truth about yourself took the longest to accept, Dr. Shamila? You are on mute, yeah, beautiful Shamila.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Dr. Christina, for this wonderful book. And I hope that lots of people get to read our stories. So my journey of rising after the death of a loved one, and that is my late husband, I think it's important for me to say that the longest that I took was to accept. So it's acceptance, and I think a lot of people will resonate with that if they lost loved ones in their lives as well. You always ask the question, why me? Why did it have to happen to you? And for me, that journey was the longest. But I would urge people to read the book. It's my amazing story, and I hope to inspire you, Rising Through the Rain. And yes, get the book. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Shamila. I would love to encourage you, and I'm just backing up Dr. Shamila. Yes, I would love to encourage you to buy the book, to purchase the book, because the stories shared in the book are really our truth. And in one of the conversations, we talked about the fact that, as we are coaches, we are leaders, when we work with people, when we are in service of others, there are certain things what we cannot share about ourselves. But through writing, right, through writing chapter, there are things what we can share what otherwise we don't really. So in these chapters, you will recognize the softness. You will see the power and the strength of each and every woman, each and every coach, each and every leader who is here and joining me today. I would love to go now to Roshani from India. Roshani, your journey is so amazing. So please just introduce yourself in a couple of words and tell me about your truth, what brought you here today, and yes.
Namaste, everyone. Firstly, thank you so much for this inclusion to be a part of this book with all the other beautiful sisters across the world. So it's an honor, it's a blessing, and deep gratitude to divinity for you, dear Christina, for thinking of me to be a part of this precious book. I'm Roshni Shanaz from India, and I have been in the work of service as an instrument to God, and that's what I feel. And it's not just about another profession. It is a calling which I followed when everything around me was broken down. And as I always put it, that, we run after our life purposes and with the whole fad of life purpose, but actually it is not so. If we live authentically and allow divinity to flow in our lives with, zero resistance and implicit faith and surrender, then the path will find us and the path will choose us, as it has done in my life as well. So I belong to 23 years of films and media before God, as I say, started writing a new script for my life. And here I am 15 years down the line in something that I never knew was a profession in 2009 and 2010. And it's still not, though it is a point of survival. In lack of, for lack of vocabulary, I would say it is the bread and butter of life. But yet, it is not just a business and it is not just a profession. It is living to wake up every day to ask God, what more can I do and who can I serve today for you? So that's where I am.
Wow, thank you so much, Rani, for sharing that. And again, I have to just say again, please buy the book, which was launched today. You can find the links in the comments below for both US and UK links, for the Amazon. And read Roshani's chapter because she's talking about a period in her life when she actually, the past, find her. Really, and I love your chapter. It's empowering, it's inspiring, and it shows so much resilience and trust and faith. I love it. I would love to move now to Dr. Maria Yan. She's joining us from the United States. Welcome, Dr. Maria. Thank you again for being a contributing author. Please share a little bit about yourself and what is your truth?
Okay, so I think that the truth about myself that I found the hardest, that's your question, right? The hardest to accept is that, my lineage I was born in, knew everything so much better than I, and I had been presented with that truth repeatedly and clearly, and refused to accept it until it got to a point where, basically I realized it's too late, and if I don't wake up now, I'm going to die a very ugly death. And that's actually, reality. And when I say ugly death, that's what I mean, an ugly death, right? And what I found, what was very hard for me to accept in that situation is that, I had chosen to believe things that everybody believes that are very easily to be believed. For example, mainstream media messaging, which is there, everywhere. You just have to turn on the internet. You're going to get some kind of a message, and that's going to lead to another message. You just have to look up some, famous thought leaders. You're going to get their messaging instantaneously. You're going to get constant messaging that I had believed because everybody believes it. And I got to the point where I had to see within myself that all of that is not 100%, but 200% completely wrong. And I mean completely wrong. And as I then discuss in my book, in my chapter, I mean, I discuss this also in other books I wrote, but in this chapter, I also discuss it. I had to, get back to myself and insert myself into my lineage and finally listen to the truth I received from ancestors who had experience for many hundreds. I mean, the earliest recorded experience I have is from around 1600, well, the late 1500s, early 1600s, right? So that's how many centuries there is of better knowledge as opposed to the nowadays, again, just a few years, very brief super relative media hype, which is all wrong, right? So I love the book. I read the book already, and I want to emphasize that why it resonates with me very profoundly, because every chapter, every contributor has many emotions portrayed in there, like literally everything from A to Z, from like death and despair to like the greatest joy, right? And I think that's, if we repress those, and I wrote a book on emotions where I clarify why it's so bad to repress your emotions, and the worst thing you can do in life is repress them, which is why this book resonates with me, because it's so full with emotions. You accept your deepest knowledge, right? Because your emotions come before any reason and before any thinking. They're very foundational. So I certainly encourage everyone to read this book and read every chapter and really think about every chapter and see the variety, the garden variety of beings that we are, from all walks of life, with all inspirations, with all feelings, all experiences. Yeah, so that's my story yeah.
Thank you so much, Dr. Maria. I appreciate you, and I love what you said about listen to the truth, what we receive from our ancestors. That resonates with me deeply. I love it. And yes, I agree with you. The book is full of emotions, right? Because we are taught as women, especially, to suppress our emotions. We are not allowed to express anger. We are not allowed to express, frustration, because then we are labeled in different kind of ways. And if you read the chapters, and I read all of the chapters, there is a lot of emotions what we put in. But what I learned about it, that we learned, to manage our emotions. We learned how to rise above everything, and really through the book, that's all about in the book. And now I would love to move to my sister, which is actually, just give me 1 second, because I have to share that it's the first time in our lives that we actually do a project like this together. She's writing a chapter about her life from her perspective, right? I'm writing about mine, and I'm really grateful and thankful that we got to the point that we can actually work together in a project like this, and I'm really happy. So Anna, what is the truth about yourself that took the longest to accept, really? And just introduce yourself in a couple of words.
Well, as you say, I'm I'm your little sister, and the hardest. So I'm an artist. I'm a therapeutic art life coach, and I'm doing many things in my life. but the hardest truth. And I love what Rushani said, that the path finds you and calls you. And the thing is, I was resisting a lot about for that. I think a part of me just simply wanted a simple life, whatever it is in the fairy tales in our childhood, the little princess meets the prince and then they fall in love and then life is just so beautiful and they have beautiful children and everything is just like a big bubble of pinky floating through life. And I wanted that story so much, and I wanted that simple, loving, no complication in my life so much that I was really refusing to see the reality that I need to stand in my power. I need to know who I am in order to actually create the life I wish to have for myself. And when I was in my 30s and life was actually presenting me the illness, the divorce, the everything was falling apart. So the fairy tale was just created by me, and I still resisted to face the truth. I am an artist. I work with colors. My way of helping the community, it is actually helping them remember who they are, while I myself, I'm also remembering who I am, and how us, we need to remember our humanness and the colors, creation. We are humans are made to create, not to consume, and through creation on an everyday basis, we finding our humanity. So for me, the biggest truth was to figure out I should not be just another bamboozled, sleeping person. Um, I was meant to remember. I don't know. I don't know what else to say.
Okay, that was perfect. Thank you so much. And yes, I agree with what Maria Jan just wrote in the chat, but I'm not going to share that how in life. I think we can discuss after that. I loved it. Yes, that's absolutely true. We sometimes are too hard to ourselves, right? We look for perfection. We, think that we have to be perfect. And what I love, and I'm going to come back to the book, is that exactly this is what I was looking for. I was not looking for perfection. And I've got that from each and every one of you. Okay, there is 12 of us there. And I said, you know what? I don't want perfect. Enough. And I want truth. I want raw. I want softness, really, truly. And this is, and I have to congratulate each and every one of you, every one of us, because I wrote that as well, that you showed, compassion toward yourself and understanding. And it was the softness, that feminine softness. And there is one thing what is also hard for us, it's forgiveness. Forgiveness is for self, it's for us. So I would love to ask you ladies now as we go on another round, what did you have to forgive yourself in order to move forward? Because there are many things what we have to forgive. But what was the biggest thing that you had to forgive yourself in order to move forward and to be the person who you are today? And I'm going to start this time with Roshani.
So, forgiving ourselves or parts of our lives are forgiving our shadows, forgiving so much of muck that we have gathered. So, in all the high and mighty life that I lived, it was so fast that there was no time to pause or think what really I needed to forgive. I never had this question, oh, who am I? Spiritual life. Spirituality's S was like barge poles away from my life. But somewhere deeply, I was connected. I knew that. So I was connected to Lord Ganesha since childhood. And when all of this was happening, usually you have a living mentor, or how in India you have a guru or someone that you look upon, and you can ask, oh, I'm having these experiences. What is this happening? How do I decipher, or anything of that sort? But for me, that wasn't so. It was like, how you just press the acceleration without really knowing what it does. to the car and to the speed, and everything was just coming down at such a high velocity, speed, and in a lightning way that I only had time to breathe and just follow. There was no time for me to think as to, oh, what is happening to me, or anybody to ask what is happening. So while all this was going on, first what I realized that there were things that I didn't even know during my childhood or remember those episodes in its literal aspect, but those were emerging while I sat in stillness, or rather made to sit in that stillness. And it was like bringing up episodes. This had happened, then this happened. And I would see visions of that. And then I would kind of recollect parts of it, that, yes, I do remember something like that happened in the class or with a relative or someone or the other, and how I had to do certain things to there and there forgive and release. So the dictation was like already doing a healing session on me, kind of a thing. And I would keep writing whatever that was coming as fast and, very haphazard writing and bullet points, so to speak, to understand and maybe go back to joining the dots. And over a period of time, it made me realize that all that garbage had to come out for me to be a clearer guiding instrument, a channel of God's work. And there was this beautiful thing that came up, that I'm not the source and I'm neither the receiver. I'm only the in between tap. And however the pristine the tap water may be coming from the source, if the tap is contaminated, it is contaminated water that will go to the end receiver. And therefore, my only job is to remove this garbage of hurts and resentments or unforgiveness or whatever that my ego self, the fearful self, would have gone through, and lay it at God's feet. And only when I'm able to do that will I be able to be an authentic instrument to his work and allow him to operate to whatever he needs to do or wants to do at his high will.
Wow, that's beautiful, Roshani. Thank you so much for sharing. It's inspiring. I love it. I love you. I love you. Okay, the next we are going to. So, what did you have to forgive yourself in order to move forward? I will move with Shamila. Shamila, I know her life story is it's just wow. And she's still standing, she's still here, she's still shining, striving. So Shamila, was there anything what you had to forgive at all?
Oh my goodness, Christina, there's so many. But I think most importantly, what I really forgave myself was for carrying the responsibilities that were never meant to be mine. So, I forgave myself for believing that my worth was tied down to how much I could really endure, how much I could give. And, we always tend to put other people before ourselves, and we put ourselves behind. And then you suddenly get up one day and think, no, this is me. Now I have to focus on myself and my self worth. And that was the awakening. So there were lots of moments of self doubt. Just for trusting that I should have protected my heart and not expecting too much from myself for others, because I'm human as well. How many people actually put you before them? These are the questions we need to ask. So for me, it's all about uplifting others before myself. And there came a time where it's Shamila first. And I'm on this journey where I found myself. I'm not saying I'm finding myself. I found myself, and that is making me thrive as a human being.
I love that, Shamila. You found yourself and you are doing amazing, and you are still serving others, because I know you work, with the girls empowerment and with your company and everything what you are doing. So and it's great to see when you found yourself and you are happy and you love yourself and you are still doing the work. What you are doing is what Roshani said, the path found you. So you are on your path, you are on your way. I love that. I absolutely love that. Dr. Maria, was it anything that you had to forgive yourself in order to move forward?
Well, I was laughing when I heard that question, because I think what I have to forgive myself is for understanding forgiveness the wrong way. Yeah. I used to think that, again, just going with the general hype flow about what forgiveness means, that it means this kind of kindness, and I thought it means forgiving your enemies in a way that's sort of very soft, and that sort of means having an insight about yourself, that, oh, I did something wrong, and like a very common kind of understanding of forgiveness, like embracing your enemy kind of situation, turning the other cheek, yeah, being nice and quiet and saying, oh my God, sure, I understand you, I would have done the same, that kind of thing. But what forgiveness sort of truly means is it's the one thing you must transcend to go to the next level. Because the reason why you feel you have to forgive something is because you've got something opposing you that you think is too strong, to be able for you to overcome. So you sort of need something that's you create as being bigger, that allows you to embrace that. And that is the wrong approach, right? Because the only way to really overcome that big hurdle that you feel you now have to sort of lower yourself and forgive. But the reason why you're doing that is because it's too big for you. So you think, okay, I'm going to make myself soft, acceptable, and loving and small, and then I'm going to be able to live with it. But that's complete nonsense, right? The only way you can do that is by confronting it. And we spoke on another episode about fear, why fear is so important. Well, the reason I wanted to forgive people, is because I was very afraid of them. And I thought, if I am soft, embracing, understanding, I'm going to be able to live with that fear. But that's a wrong approach. That's wrong. So confronting those things that make me afraid, that make me feel I have to be kind, where really it's not reasonable to be kind in that situation. And forgiving myself for having had the wrong understanding of forgiveness, so that I can really see the totality of circumstances that is involved and form an opinion and an informed kind of, thinking and reflection about that, as opposed to, getting small and being loving and, all those things that sort of are so-called feminine. But if you again look at women through history, those women were not forgiving or loving or caring or feminine or subservient or any of those things. So yeah, that's what I had to forgive, that I had been thinking the wrong way. Yeah.
I love what you're saying, and you're right, and I understand, and I say that, forgiveness is for self, first of all. It's for you, it's not for the other person, really. And that's the first thing, forgiving yourself, not necessarily the other person. Yes, you can forgive them, but not forget, but again, forgiveness is for self. And I'm gonna move to Kirsten this time.
For me, I think what I needed to forgive was forgive myself for thinking that I was broken and needed to be fixed. Forgive myself for thinking that I had did something wrong and caused the end of my marriage and could have done X, could have done Y, could have done so much better, could have been a better wife, a better mother, could have done more. I think every woman going through a heartbreak like that, you blame yourself, right, at first. And then I think after a period, you realize that, first of all, it takes two people to get into this situation. And it's very important not to put blame on either one. I think I realized that we were just suddenly on different vibrations and different journeys. And actually, it was nothing I did wrong. To be honest, a bit like what Shamila was saying, that I realized I had completely lost myself in as a mother and as a woman, and as a wife. I didn't recognize myself. I didn't know who I was. So I think that once I forgave myself for all of these things, I then started looking at myself of who am I? And then I could reflect on where did I contribute to this ending, and realized that I had got stuck along the way and stopped moving actually, and became stagnant. Like in nature, it's you always want to be continuously moving and river flowing, and then it's fresh, it's got clear water, it's sparkling, there's fish. But when the river stops flowing, it's green and it's stagnant, and I had stopped flowing. And I didn't recognize that until I stopped blaming and started reflecting back, and started to see the points where I had contributed really to all of this. And it's unfortunate that it ended in a divorce, because I think some marriages don't have to. You can actually work together and recognize these things together. Or you're just on different journeys. It's irrelevant, because at the end of the day, it's such a growth opportunity. But I think the biggest thing was forgiving myself that I actually wasn't broken. It's And then we talk about how it helps you break open.
I love that you are saying that, Kirsten, how, forgiving yourself and realizing that no, you were not broken, you were not helpless. But also I love the way how you say, sometimes when, there is a heartbreak, there is a divorce, we have the tendency to always blame the other. And why I love you and I respect you is that you said, okay, it was my fault as well. I contributed to that as well, because it's always twofold. There is always two sides of the story. And I love you for that, because not many have the self-awareness and the courage to admit that, look, I forgive myself. It was what it was, but I'm changing now. I was stuck. You were stuck, and I loved how you explained that, with the river. That's beautiful. I absolutely love that. I agree with you. I celebrate you, and I'm so happy that the universe brought you in my way in such a I don't know, interesting way, and I will always be grateful for that. And I'm gonna move to my sister with the same question before we move to the next one. My dear Anna, what did you have to forgive yourself in order to move forward?
There were two big things. First of all, forgive myself for being so cruel with myself for decades. Because every time I was abandoning myself, every time I was not even taking in consideration my own needs, I was very cruel with myself. And when I arrived to actually choose myself, choose the fact that yes, this is my path and I want to engage in that, it came with a big doses of guilt, because in order for me to choose myself, I arrived to the point that no matter how much I was trying to bring my old life with me, the people with me, they decided not to join. And in order for me to keep on moving, growing, and healing, I needed to let go. I needed to choose me, and that was meaning leaving behind people, and that was also meaning some people being very disappointed with me. But then I needed to be in peace with that, because at the end of the day, it's a choice of choosing me. Because if I stay, I'm not here today to talk to you girls.
Thank you, Anna. Thanks for much for sharing that. I love you. I appreciate it. I have no choice but to love you. You're my sister, and I would and I would love to say welcome to another beautiful contributing author to the book. Welcome, Dr. Enolia Forti. Thank you so much for joining our live. I think before we move forward to the next question, I'm gonna give the stage to you. You're gonna be in the spotlight. Just tell us who you are and what you're doing here.
I am Dr. Enolia Harris Pedro now.
Oh my God, I'm sorry. Oh my God. Job, please forgive me. I have to learn her name.
And I am a contributing author, and I'm so honored to be here among all of the beautiful people who have wrote phenomenal stories. And I'm just honored to be here with everyone and to join you, to support you, and to celebrate each and every one of you. So
Thank you so much. So I'm going to continue the next question, and I'm actually going to take Enonia first, and then we go around because my question would be, what is your soul asking in this season? Because we talk about forgiveness, about different kind of things, but let's talk about something soft, something what it's striving, rising, empowering. So Enonia, like beautiful Enonia, what is your soul asking?
my soul is asking for coherence and balance of all of that which is around me. You know, we want to take in wisdom, we want to take in relationships, we want to take in family, we want to take in all of these things, achievements, goals, and everything else. And what we do is we have this juggling act of, here I am, and I give a little bit of myself here and a little bit of myself there and a little bit here, 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 here. But the bottom line is, I want it all to come together. I want to live a life that allows me to lift others up and really support those who which I engage, but also myself in that same respect. And I want it all to come together for that divine alignment, that divine goal. So for me, if I were going to pick one word, it would be coherence.
Thank you so much. You know, I have to say that in this live right now, and I know Enoria for a long, long, long time. When I met her, she was my coach, then my mentor, then my friend, then my everything, and I'm so happy that I have her in my life. I'm so happy that I have all of you working on this journey with me, because each and every one of you here today and contributing in the book, you really just make my life richer. You show me that there is meaning and there is a purpose in what I'm doing, and that's what keeps me going. Seeing you, sharing, seeing you being so open and soft and giving yourself permission to be soft in this word. It makes me, say, Christina, no, you go, you do it, because it was so many times when I wanted to give up. But beautiful souls like you, the book, the stories, and in certain circumstances can, no, you can't. Because, as Roshani said, the path chose you. So that's who I am, that's what I'm doing. So the question is still the same. What is your soul asking for you in this season? And I'm going to move to who? Kirsten.
I think it's a beautiful question, and for me, it is it is to share, to help other women going through something like this. Because when I went through my separation, because separation is the hardest part, right? By the time you get to the divorce part, you kind of accepted it. Um, and it was a very lonely journey for me, and I just felt like I was the only one going through this. And I think that's why it was like particularly difficult for me. And like I mentioned, I wasn't near any family, and I would have loved support at the time, and to speak to other women going through something similar and to rise up. And eventually I found a coach and mentor who's actually Anita, one of the contributing authors, who basically transformed my life. And I want to be that woman, that guide, that person for other women going through such an emotional roller coaster journey. Because sometimes when you're in it, like I was saying the other day on one of the other interviews, it's like a mist. You can't see for yourself, or it's like a mud, and you need someone to help you clear it, clear the water until it's clear. You can't always see it for yourself. And I want to be that person who can help lead and guide other women to rise into the amazing, magnificent power that they own.
You already are, my beautiful Kristen. You already are the woman through your stories, through the fact that you shared your story openly. You are the heart opener course. So you already are that leader that inspires others. You show the how we say that in Oria. You are the lighthouse. You are the lighthouse for others, right? So I would love to move to Roshani with the same question. Love. Okay, you just have to unmute, baby. Yes, I can. So my question to you is, what is your soul asking of you in this season?
Asking of me just in this time right now, or asking of me in life?
uh, right now.
Okay. All right. Uh, this is actually a funny question for putting it to myself, because I try each day, honestly, to live that moment and live that day. And though, as I say, that we plan our meetings, we plan our trips, we plan things, we plan this beautiful Zoom, but yet, somewhere deep down, it is that in all this pragmatic, scenario that we are living in, this is there. But what my soul demands each day is that I do my best and leave the rest. So, however, the planning possibly is there, but yet it is not tied down to it. It is to go with the flow. It is to be honest and authentic of what can be and what need not be, or suddenly told that this should not be. So I don't go with fixed parameters. I don't go with fixated thoughts or previous experiences to cloud my judgment, that it was so like this 10 years back, so it will be like this right now, and so on. And I feel that's very, very important for all of us, and that we try to live in this conscious moment of what I can do for life, what I can put to the table for this soul. Because ultimately, when we take this form, when we come down to earth to live this incarnation, our sole onus and responsibility, 100% responsibility for ourselves, is on us, and we have nobody to blame, and there is no oppressor, and there is nobody that should feel like a victim. And that's what my soul calls for, that I try to move away every day from all of this and try to go within that sacred space to meet my beloved God, and whose hand I can hold, and just walk through this path and allow him to take me from one nano step to the other as time flows and one day becomes to the other, and months and years.
Thank you, Roshani. Just go with the flow, with trust and faith. Thank you so much for sharing that. And I'm going to move with the same question to Dr. Shamila, my beautiful Shamila. So the question is, what is your soul asking of you in this season?
Thank you so much. Such a beautiful question. As I mentioned earlier, I found myself, and for me, I will say it's gentleness, because just asking me to receive what I've spent years giving to others to protect my own energy. I think it's important for us to focus on ourselves. And also, I think, I've been really hectic in my life so for the past 20 years. And I think now it's time to slow down, focus on myself, try to be on the quieter side. And I'm trying to practice that. It's a bit difficult, especially when you're a social media queen. so, but I'm getting there slowly. But it's, in a nutshell, it's not a season about proving yourself. It's about slowing down, and it's a season for becoming.
That's beautifully said, Shamila. Thank you so much. The season of becoming, and that's the book about, it's about the power of becoming, really, truly. And I love what you said, really focusing on yourself, slowing down. That's very important because we are so much in this do, rush. Oh, the word is fast. I have to catch up. Oh my God, I'm missing out. No, you're not. No, you're not. Dr. Maria, yeah, and the same question to you. So, what is your soul asking for you in this season of you?
Well, I love this question. It is very appropriate and very timely. Um, what my soul is asking of me is dynamic creation. And the reason why is because I've had just last night, that's why I'm saying it's very timely. The reason why I was 7, 8 minutes late this morning is because I was up until 1 a.m. figuring out a very tiny detail on which much depended on a creative project that I'm working on. And it initially ended up with me in the bathroom crying, saying, well, I still don't get it. And it's unbearable. I can't take this any longer. You know, I can't take it any longer. It's really unbearable beyond being unbearable. And then right after that, a few minutes later, once I went back to my desk from the bathroom, I had this, oh, moment. And I figured it out. It fell into place. The same exact thing happened on prior occasions when I had these oh moments after being stuck until 1 a.m., 2 a.m. in some cases. In one case, it was until 3 a.m. It was extreme, right? But when you hit that wall and you confront and you say, I can't take this any longer, that's when you then, your switch goes on. You said, you know, that's how it should be. And then you see this amazing order and this amazing clarity and the flow. And the reason I'm saying again why this question is so timely is because today I clearly realized that it wasn't just last night, but it had happened on a few other past occasions. I think the earliest one was when I was like early teens, not, I mean, so like an older child, you know, so this isn't new, but I never realized, you know, I always forgot. I said, whatever, you know, we'll just go on with life. But I think personally for me now, having realized that that's where the clarity comes and that's where the big insights and the big order comes, is something I want to be able to replicate. Which, you know, it happens anyway. So I just add an additional layer of clarity to it. So that's why I said dynamic, you know, creation. And I just want to encourage everyone that just when you think you are the most unbearably stuck, right? As somebody else said, you are not broken at all. You're not stuck at all, right? Because that's where you get the switch, you know, and you say, wow, now I got the clarity. Yeah, so thank you for asking that question. It's a very good one.
Well, I thank you, but in order to get unstuck, first you have to have the self-awareness, right? And that's the beauty of it, because we all growing to have this self-awareness. I love that you share that. And I'm going to move to my sister, to Anna, with the same question. And then I just really would love to be respectful of everybody's time. I would love to say, first of all, before Anna is going to answer, to all the loves and likes, you know, from the live. I really appreciate you guys. I see you. I love you. We wouldn't be here without you. Also, if you feel inclined to do so, you can support the ladies. You can support yourself on your journey by buying the book, you know, purchasing the book. The links are in the comments below this live. And I would love to ask you, Anna, in a couple of words, please share what is your soul asking of you in this season.
Trust. Because I was coming from a very big ego, trying to control everything and trying to figure out everything by myself. And I think lately, since quite a while, I'm receiving on a daily basis proof that I am on my path. I am met, that life is meeting me halfway. And until now, for many years, I had the feeling that it's only me putting the work. It's only me. I'm like, it's only me has to heal. It's only me has to go through everything. And where is the result? Where I'm seeing something. And I think in a very gentle way, life is nudging me, like, look around, look at the miracles that happen on the day. Yes, life is happening, but the way how I'm reacting, the way how my environment is reacting, how amazing people aligned with my vibration, with who I am, are part of my life now. And if I am touching ground, I'm coming back, not in the same way how it was 10, 13, 15 years ago. And I think it is requiring trust that it is all good, it is all fine.
And thank you for sharing that. At the end of the day, it's all about trust, and it's all about faith, and it's all about knowing, not believing. I said that if you say believe it, that comes with a certain level of doubt, but a certain knowing. And before we finish our live today, I would love to invite each and one of you to share a little bit about your chapter, if you would love to do so. You know, the title of your chapter, what's it all about. Why would anyone in the world read your chapter? I would love to start as we are in the order like this, like with Roshani, and then we go the round.
Hi. So my chapter is called From Ashes to Awakening, The Rise of a Phoenix. And it is not just a title. For me, it is a lived experience, because it is truly that I feel that God has gathered all the ashes after burning me in his fire of love, and then created this new being. I often refer to my life in media as my past birth. And when I see that life, when I see memories, when I see pictures, I'm a very pictorial person. I'm flooded with pictures all my life, and I love taking pictures. And I remember that I would always say that when I'm 90-year-old, if I reach there and have nothing to do, I would flip the pages of the album and relive all those stories and those moments with people I loved. So my chapter is an aspect, a tiny dot of life where it is not becoming something just because I have garnered certifications or read some books or anything, but because God has helped me with faith, implicit trust, and surrender to pass a thick rope through a needle hole and allow me to live this life, this point in time where I stand. And I feel that so many of us, when we are struck with the demolition of life, we do not know where to go. We do not know whether we will come out of this debris. And to all such lives and to all such souls, as a fellow journeyer that I believe myself to be, I would say that let's not lose hope, because hope is the anchor of life. I do not know whether I'm going to rise with the rising sun tomorrow, but I still plan my day. And that is because of the intrinsic hope that I have that makes all of us live this life. So thank you for being with me, and I hope my chapter can help you find your strength, your wisdom, your inner self, and connection to your God within and beyond.
Thank you so much, Roshani. Beautifully said. Thank you again for being part of it. And I really encourage you to buy again the book and read the chapters. It's really, truly inspiring. I would love to move now to Dr. Shamila Ranjawan. What's your chapter about? What is it that you would love to share with the world? What is it that you think that they will learn from your chapter? Or inspire them or whatever.
Thank you so much, Dr. Christina. So my chapter is Rise Through the Rain. And the reason for that title is it was a rainy day where my husband complained about chest pains, and my two children and I rushed into the hospital, little knowing that he wasn't coming back home. That was the day that we lost him. So I don't want to give away too much about the book. I would love for people to buy the book and read my story. And I hope that I inspire you as a single parent growing two phenomenal children. One is in the UK, married, and my daughter is also in Cambodia and South Africa. She commutes between two countries. And just to see the growth of my children, where they are now, and being the mom and dad for so many years, that is very inspiring as well. So I would love for you to buy the book and read my story and the stories of the other authors. And that will really inspire you a lot. So thank you so much, Dr. Christina, for this wonderful opportunity to be in this book. And I wish you all the best of luck.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for being part of it. I appreciate you. I see you. And I would love to know from Dr. Enolia Harris Pedro this time, what's her chapter about? And what would you love people to learn from your chapter? My shaman, my medicine woman. You're laughing, huh?
So the name of my story is Evolution. And why evolution? I wrote this beautiful poem about evolution. And what I did is that I corresponded that evolution to what I like to term as a leap of octave. That leap of octave is the fact that each one of us reaches a moment in our lives when we've gone through an iteration that pushes us up to the next level. Do we recognize that? What does that mean to us? What does that look like for us? So we have all of these moments, these precious moments all throughout life. And what I shared with you is one of my moments of that leap of octave and what it took me through and how I recognized it and how I found that most spiritual part of it so that it could keep me maintained at that leap where I now need to learn how to operate at. So I'll leave it at that. And I hope that you enjoy it. And I hope that it is meaningful for anyone who reads it because we all go through those leap of octaves. Listening to the stories that I've heard so far are those leaps of octave where you have to rise to the occasion. So that's what it's about.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Enolia. I love you. I appreciate you. I'm so happy. I'm grateful and thankful that you are walking this path with me, along me. I'm truly grateful. Dr. Maria Ian, what's your chapter about? Oh, don't tell me the whole story, please. People, you guys out there, in that beautiful world of ours, I would love to invite you to purchase the book. And I know I keep repeating myself before you answer the question that you guys say, why should I buy a book? Why should I read your story? Because my story can be your story. Roshani's, Enolia's, Anna's, Shamila's, Maria's, and all of our story. You might recognize yourself. Maybe not in the whole story, maybe just in one line, but that one line might change your world, might change your life, might change your mindset, the way how you think and feel about yourself, first of all. Dr. Maria, and the stage is yours.
Well, again, it's a great question, Christina. Thank you so much for asking. My chapter is called Be Fearless in Chaos. And the reason why anybody would want to read it or reflect on it is because I want people to fundamentally understand and accept that there is no such thing as death, right? There is being brain dead. There's obviously biological death. There is a moment in our existence where we are declared brain dead, but all of that is, beside the point. It is really irrelevant in terms of the greater and dynamic energy revolutions and progressions that we go through in our lifetimes, which are infinite, right? And I'd like people to understand that when you think you are the most stuck, your pain is the most unbearable, you cannot take it any longer because you've reached a limit, that is where you flourish. And that is where you understand I am not broken, I am not dead, right? That is where I become in the universe. And basically that's the foundational message of my chapter, my contribution. And it's going to be, specific to every human being. And there are billions, on this planet and have been, and there's going to still be, it's going to be specific to each one of those many billions, gazillions, because each one of us is an individual, a self-identifying, cellular organism. So that persists in all eternity. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Dr. Maria Yan. I read your chapter. It is amazing. Guys, you know, we are immortal. We are eternal. And that's the truth, believe it or not. Know it or not, that's the truth. I would love to move to my beautiful sister, Anna. What is your chapter about, and what is it that you would love people to learn from it?
Well, my chapter is about shapeshifting, and it is a term which is rarely used late, and where we are all coaches, working in as a therapeutic art life coach or whatever we are doing, but we always say we are dealing with people pleasing, many different aspects of people pleasing, but we rarely really talk about what it means to be shapeshifter. While we all have that one someone who, whenever they have a new girlfriend, boyfriend, a new environment, they just simply immerse themselves into that environment. Their hobby of their partner becomes their hobby. They become experts in the life of the other person, and then they try all their possible ways to please and to be agreeable, whatever it's needed to save the peace, to allow the environment to just have them and accept them. And I used to be a people pleaser. I used to be a shapeshifter. And coming out from the shapeshifting was one of the biggest battles of my life. I always like to be invisible as much as possible, and then coming out from that to the light. This is what life was kind of pushing me constantly. First of all, becoming an artist, going back to actually who I am, even though every cell in me was kind of fighting against it, because we had so many limiting beliefs and so many conditioned things in our head about what the life of an artist is, what the future of an artist is, what exactly an artist is bringing to this society. And in my chapter, I'm writing how finally I realized that shape-shifting, meaning it meant to me I disappear, or I'm choosing myself, or I'm losing myself completely. And then that was the pivot point where I was choosing myself, and I said, I need to learn who I am. I need to figure out, to remember. And it was a slow, painful process, but we need to talk, because I think another thing, shape shifting is not a shameful thing, it's a coping mechanism. And as many coping mechanisms, if we get stuck in it, it will follow all our lives. But when you become aware of what you are doing, of why are you doing, their life is offering you a chance to come out, to change it.
Thank you. Thank you very much about sharing the shape shifting. I read your chapter. I know your story too well. I would love to invite each and every one of you, listening now, or you're going to listen to the replay, ready to buy the book and read the stories. We had an amazing conversation today. I love you. I see you, ladies. Thank you so much for joining me on this one. I really appreciate you. For those of you who watch this live, thank you so much for the lots of love. We received it. And until next time, before we leave, I would love to have just one single word from each and one of you. What is it that you are feeling now? What is it that you are living with? One word. And then with that being said, I'm sending all of you lots of love and light. Roshani.
To live authentically, even if you are the only one standing with it.
Thank you, Dr. Maria Yan.
Well, love with no boundaries, serene love.
Beautiful. Thank you. And Nolia.
Mm, Just humility and gratefulness to be able to deliver and to be able to share.
Thank you. Anna?
Yes, I am coming also the same word as Rushani said, authentically you, choosing to be authentically you, even if it looks like on the surface that you are all alone, we are never alone. No one,
Thank you.
ever.
Thank you so much, ladies. I appreciate you. The title of my chapter is called She Who Never Refuses to Break. She Who Refuses to Break, and that's gonna be forever. So I would love to invite you to buy the book, find out what's going on there, and remember the power of becoming is huge. It's a transformation and what is constantly changing, and it's there, it's always the change. So be the change, be the transformation, go with it, go with the flow. Just honestly surrender. Until next time, sending you lots of love and light, everyone. Bye for now.
Bye.